Today I have the big honor to welcome a couple of kite flyers here on Fenir, which is well known on all kite festivals in the whole world. Because they are great kite builders, they do an amazing job. So I'm very, very curious today to talk with these people. Welcome to you, Eli and Shula Shavit, here on Fenir.
Thank you very much. We are honored to be here, and we are very pleased to be here.
You are from Jerusalem, from
Yes.
Israel. Kite flying in Israel. I have never been in Israel, so how can I imagine kite flying in Israel? Is there a kite scene, kite clubs?
Unfortunately, no, not really. In fact, single line kite flyers and kite makers are very, very few. Probably not more than 5 or 6 people in the whole
In
country.
the whole country.
Yeah. If I may say so, we are at the top of the top in Israel.
Not only in Israel.
Thank you.
That's why we come to you.
But there is a lot of activity, buggying
Yeah.
and kite surfing.
Kitesurf,
Okay.
yeah.
But we don't take part in that. We are too old for buggying and kite surfing. But as I said, in one line, there's hardly any activity at all, very few kite flyers. We try to meet as much as we can on the beach, have our own small kite festival or kite meeting. But other than that, we take consolation in the fact that we go to kite festivals and kite events around the world.
But that will be the next question. Shula, are there any kite festivals in Israel?
The only small kite festival that's going on since 1985 is in the Israeli Museum in Jerusalem. But it's a worse place to fly kites because it's a sculpture garden,
Okay.
a lot of lamps. But when they started, it was a more open area, and it's sort of a tradition now. Everyone knows about it. In summer, when children are free to go into the museum, they don't have to pay. So I think the mother take all the neighborhood with her, and they are coming over there. I want to add to Eli that what's also popular, very popular in Israel now, it's a children's, that they build small kites. This goes, it's good for summer camps, activities at school, small kites, especially sled like you have, I saw in your club.
Yeah.
So this is, but serious kites are here and there when one municipal or kibbutz, when they organize something small that they don't have permission from the municipal or bring some guards to take care of who is coming in. So this is, but nothing that continues.
No.
And another thing that I want to say to add to Eli is it was very popular when we were small. When we were kids, we used to make our own kites. When spring and summer came, I saw here that you have what we call canes, because that was the kite that we made out of the bamboo and paper, the hexagon kite.
That would be the next question. Also, even if there is not a dedicated kite scene in Israel, do you have an original Israeli kite?
That's what we didn't dig in the history. I think always we say that we must find somebody that will go over books, but we didn't have the time or the energy to do it. But I can say that it's a traditional kite. The hexagon, how you say
the
it?
hexagon, the equilateral or equisided hexagon, six-sided hexagon.
And we think that it must came from Arab countries.
It was probably introduced by the Muslims or the Arabs. I don't know way back when, but this is the typical kite that we grew up with. Actually, this was the only kite we knew when we were kids. We didn't even imagine that there could be other shapes of kites, different shapes of kites.
And we saw in books, the diamond shape. And even we use the name for the kite, we use the Arabic name that they call it Tayara.
Tayara.
Tayara. It means kite and aeroplane in
It
Arabic.
means something that flies, sort of.
So if you say, somebody will say, oh, I used to build kites when I was a child, you will say, I built a Tayara.
I used to make Tayara when I was a little, when I was a kid.
So we see it as a traditional Israeli kite. And the other thing that when 1985, as I say, the first festival in the museum that we participate, and when we came with a Delta, it was
Amazing.
amazing.
Nobody knew what it was. Actually, they thought that we bought the kite in a kite store abroad or something, and they couldn't believe that this is a real kite that we made ourselves, and it flies so nice. So this was totally new.
So 1985, was this the year where you fell in love for kites?
Yes. Well, actually,
no, we came back again, fall in love again.
This is the year that we restarted or rekindled our love.
So when does it start?
That was, as we said, that as a children in the 50s, but Eli grew in Jerusalem, I in a city by Tel Aviv, so I was closer to the sea, and Eli had uncle and aunt in the same city, so he spent the summer off there. So he came and we built. It was almost everywhere. People were building these kites and go to the beach. You could see the shores of Israel were amazing. It was always a lot of kites you can see in the air and this shape, unless they bought from somewhere the diamond shape. But
no, as far as I can remember, as a kid, I always made kites in the summer, in the spring, always. Actually, almost up to the end of high school, I was still making kites. This hexagon, the Tayara. Then army and university and family, and we sort of got out of it, and we did rediscover the passion actually in 1983, when we were in a gift shop in Sacramento, California.
Okay.
And we walked in and we stood like this. It was a gift shop, but it carried mainly kites. And these were kites that I've never seen before. There was box kites and cellular kites and deltas and everything you can think of. Carbon fiber sticks, fiberglass, materials that I knew existed from my days in the university, but I never dreamed that they could be used for making kites. And we very much wanted to buy a kite. And I think it was like a cellular kite and $200 or something for the kite. I said, that's too expensive. Let's buy a book. Because we know how to do things with our hands, and if we have a good book, we can always make a good kite. So we got the David Pelham.
Yes. Book of Kites.
Later found out that this is the Bible of kite flyers.
Right.
And we started to play or to make kites, various kites. It was Shula and myself and the kids who were at their early teens those years. And in 1985, we had the first event at the museum, and after appealing to the judges, because, as I said, they thought our kite was a commercial kite, we got a very nice trophy, and this is what boosted our passion, or mainly our children's passion, and encouraged them to continue with this whole hobby of kites, and it became a hobby, maybe more than a hobby, maybe more passion or kite crazy, I don't know what. The whole family. It's Shula and myself and 2 boys and the girls. Everyone.
Kite crazy, whole family.
Kite crazy, the whole family.
And from this book, and we were looking for more books. It was only very old book in Hebrew. So mainly it was English. And then we found about the magazine, we got the Drachen magazine, the
Kite Lines at the time, and American Kites, and we used to buy books from the magazines, usually at the end of the magazine.
Information as possible.
But and again, it was more events with kites, and all you can see every weekend on the beach you could see people are flying kites. And I think, and then they even open kite stores in Israel that we don't have anyone now. But so that's how it was popular, that here and there you can find a kite store. I don't know if the biggest, but one of the main store was on the beach in a city called Herzliya, again, not far from Tel Aviv, on the beach. And the lady was in 1992, she was in Dieppe, France. And she met some famous
very famous kite flyers, and she was really impressed, and she decided that she wants to do kite festivals in Israel.
International kite festival. And she invited 5-6 kite flyers from the Peter Lin, George Peters
was there, Modegi-san was there, Michel Gressier was there,
Raoul Fosset
from Belgium. So
you had a lot of information. You start building your kites yourself. Today you are most famous for your patchwork. So how does this shift happen from using the plans from books and publications over to your totally own style?
I would say it was, for us, it was very natural. As they say, necessity is the mother of all inventions. Our main problem was getting spinnaker. And when we started playing from David Peltman's book, we would work with cotton and with plastic sheets and like the nylon taffeta or the material that they make umbrellas out of. And when we would get our hands on some spinnaker, we would cherish it and we would have to use it all the way. Don't even the little pieces, don't waste anything. And at that time, Shula was already a quilter. She was already doing patchwork. Not with spinnaker, with cotton. And doing blankets and wall hangings and all that. And it occurred to us that patchwork could be a very good way to use every little piece of material we can get our hands on. Now, I know we do what many kite flyers don't do. We mix different types of material, but this is, again, because we had to use every little piece we had, so even if I had 2 types of spinnaker, I would still use them. And because we do patchwork with a lot of sewing and many seams, it's okay. It doesn't affect the behavior of the kite. We got encouraged by, I think, the first time we saw Yannicka from Holland, who saw her fly some kimonos that were patchwork, and she said that she was actually inspired by Scott Skinner. And then we met Scott and we got his encouragement and approval that this is the direction we should take.
No, I told
and
Eli,
the rest is history.
I said to Eli, if Scott is doing patchwork, the log cabin it was, I said, oh, I'm the expert. So I don't know if I know better, but I think I'm more experienced. So let's say yes. And okay, again, it was, I don't know why, but it's sort of men's hobby. And I was, when we started going to Kite Festival abroad, I was among the...
Shula was a sort of a strange bird. One lady with all the...
Especially making kites,
nails.
not coming with Eli, you know, as his wife, but be a team and
Being
making kites. So I said, let's find something that will be special. We know how to build a kite. So let's put more effort and time in the sail, and we have many. We can choose many techniques, and yes. And
what's your favorite patchwork design?
I think the log cabin. I think that we like to
after
play
all the years and trying many different types or styles of patchwork, I think log cabin, because I think it's the most versatile of all. Because you can use something very simple and create very complicated and very intricate designs with it.
Especially that I like the rainbow colors and with a touch of black. So again, I can do like the same squares, 20, 50, and then the way that you arrange it,
80 blocks sometimes.
You get the design.
So especially with log cabin, you can create very complicated designs
with a very simple block.
the simple block, but very complicated designs. So how do you design the design, or how do you plan the design?
Okay, well, there are several stages in the process of coming up with a design. First of all, we have to have an idea what shape we want the sail to be. And then what we do, we start playing. Even though this is the computer age, I still work with a graph paper and a pencil. We start playing with a graph paper or markers, and we color by hand, and we see what we like. What we do almost every time, we would send by mail or by photo to our children and our grandchildren what we want to do.
When we say and it's a grandparents' camp, so everyone
okay, this is the shape that we want. Now start filling it with color.
Okay.
And not once, not twice, we eventually chose a design that was thought up by one of our grandchildren.
We vote.
Okay.
Yes.
So the whole family is involved.
The whole family is involved and takes part in the decision and making and planning of the kite.
Yeah, they must give their blessing for the shape and the colors.
Okay.
Yeah, and they are talking about involved. Yes, they are in Israel. They are coming with us to fly kites, and they have their own. Every child, when he married, he got a kite for his
for the wedding.
And every grandson, granddaughter also got as a kite.
So we have the design and we have the shape of the kite in place. We have the colors in place, but now we still need the step to the design.
Well, the final part of sewing is Shula's job.
Yeah.
As I say, I know how to use the sewing machine. I know the principles, I know the theory, but I can never get the same results when I sit at the sewing machine. You need something to be precise and proper. That's Shula's job.
I said that he can't blame himself that if something doesn't work.
Shula said once that I cannot live up to my expectations when I do the sewing. So she does the sewing. When it comes to designing the frame or the sticks or the final shape of the kite, usually that's what I do. If we have to do some calculations involved in some geometry or algebra, that's my part. But eventually everything comes together to create the final shape of the kite and then the final sail design of the kite.
And then a normal, ordinary kite from your house, how long does this take?
Normal?
No, yeah.
Depends how you
I'm not sure.
normal.
I'm not sure if I can talk about normal kites
not
in your
a bandana.
house. No, not a bandana. No.
Yeah, it will be like now we are retired, so we have more time. We can spend the whole day sewing or making kites. I think it will be 2, 3.
Probably will take between maybe 1 or 2 weeks up to maybe a month.
Okay.
And many times, a lot of the time dedicated to the planning, not necessarily the sewing. When it comes to the sewing, that's already easy because you know what you want to do.
Yeah.
Deciding on what you want to do and how to do it sometimes takes more time. And people always ask us, how long does it take to make a kite? I don't know. I know what is the longest time it took us. And this is the bandana behind us.
Yes.
And this took 4 months.
Yeah.
But we can talk about the geopointer or the box that we had the idea. We wanted to do a kite. We had the plane, but we didn't know what design we want to on it. What will be nice? What will fit? So I think 2 years or something, and people.
No, the drum box took me, well, not every day, 24 hours a day, but I think it took me about a year to figure out what is the best way I want to do the design on the sail. To get like a continuous movement of the pattern and do it a little bit different than other people do it. So it took me a while, but once I knew what I want to do, I don't think it took more than 2 weeks.
And the geopointer we got from Australia,
No, from John Trenepol from the US.
US, and again, we know that we want to do it, and some people even ask us, "Did you start? Are you going to?" And again, we didn't know what kind of design, because sometimes the shape is strange or unusual, and so even if you have an idea about the technique, it's not always. So
like the geopointer, it's a very long kite. It's 5.5 meters long by 2 meters wide at the top. So how can you fit a design or a certain shape that will fit on this shape of the kite? This took us a long time. And here again was another example of involving the family. What I did, I printed in color the basic block, the basic building block of the kite. I printed it on paper, 80 or 90 blocks, cut them in 2 centimeters by 2 centimeters.
And then rearranged
and then started to arrange them on paper. Yeah. And then we sent out to our grandchildren, okay, which one is the one that you like best? You like this one? This is nice, but, okay, no, I like this one.
Moving out of the picture.
No, I'm sorry.
Just come over.
And eventually the final shape is one that was agreed upon by our kids and by our grandchildren.
Okay. So, kite building is a big part in your life.
Yeah.
The other part is traveling.
Traveling and grandchildren.
And grandchildren.
Yes, because we are doing a lot of babysitter too.
How many times a year are you out on Kite Festival?
Usually, probably at least 3 or 4 times.
I can tell.
Some years it's more, some years it's less, but
we start in April with Chervia most of the time.
If we don't go to India in January, sometimes we go to Berg and from Berg to Chervia. If they overlap, we usually choose Chervia. And then, unlike this year, in June we would usually go to Alcochete in Portugal. And in September of every second year we have Dieppe in France. And there were a couple of years that there was in August Dieppe, Canada.
Yes.
And then in October there's Fréjus. So probably 3 or 4 times a year.
And last year it was in September, Sydney, Australia.
Oh, we went to Bondi Beach.
Yes, and it was 1 year in, I think it was March, that it was South Korea.
Yes.
Yes, so here and there we can squeeze some more festival, not the regular ones, because like I can say Chervia, it's more than 20 years that we go. And
so Chervia is your favorite kite spot?
And I think it's...
Well, Chervia Festival is the closest to home.
Okay.
It's very easy for us.
It's very easy going.
Yeah, it's like 3.5 hours flight from Tel Aviv to Venice. I rent a car in Venice and within 2 hours I'm in Chervia.
Yes.
Also, it's a great festival. It's an easygoing, it's a nice place. Most of the time it's very nice weather, very nice people, like every kite festival.
Very creative people.
Very creative people.
And I don't know, maybe you can then cut it down, but it's also sometimes political, because we were invited to a kite festival in Turkey, and it's on a part of Turkey that the foreign office didn't recommend us to go over there.
Okay.
Yes, so there was a travel advisory. So they said, we cannot prevent you from going to Turkey, but we definitely recommend that you don't go.
I have been invited to that kite festival as well, and both the Germans and the Danish said, let it be.
Okay, like Claudio suggested us to come to Qatar, and again we can't go, so it's...
if Santa Claus is here and you have a wish,
wow.
Which kite festival in the world need to participate, or would you like to participate?
Well, we would like very much to participate. I can think of 2 places, in China and or Japan. We haven't been there at all. We would like to visit there even without the kite festival, but with the kite festival it would be much preferred.
If some of our viewers here on the YouTube channel would like to start with kite building or would like to start with a patchwork, what would you like to say?
first he needs to know how to sew. Sewing is important and be precise. Okay, I can tell him that something that Eli told me when we started, it's not a dress, it's a kite. It must be accurate. And I said, oh, what do you mean? My dresses are...
So the dresses are not accurate? Or?
No, okay, you can...
No, but if you do a dress, it's not critical if you miss by a centimeter on one side.
Sounds like an inflatable kite.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's a kite, it will shift. If the kite shifts in the air, Eli always will blend the sewing. So it must be very precise. So first, go and learn to sew. Yes, and then I would go with a simple kite. I think I don't know what maybe even a
Start with
diamond
with a delta or a diamond because you can use patchwork on any shape of kite because this is it doesn't matter what the shape of the sail is. You can always fit some kind of patchwork, and if you want to start simple, probably log cabin would be the best thing to start with.
Yes, that's what we suggested the men and they were in the workshop, and somebody that was very surprising that he said that he sort of was in shock that he need to take the sail that he made at home, the homework that we gave, the squares that he sewed together, and to cut it again. How it was terrible for him. So we said, and I said, I'm not going to do any patchwork, and I said, no, there are more techniques. So how about log cabin? That you sew them the stripe together, but you don't cut it anymore. So, so we like the log cabin, and we think that it's simple. Let's say, and you can play with colors.
Also, I think I would say that I would encourage people to have the mindset that patchwork designs, some of them look very complicated. But actually, most of them are very simple to make. There's a simple way to make it, and the end result looks very complicated.
There is a
so people shouldn't be afraid of it. Of course, you need either to look at books or to go to workshops. Shula goes to workshops for the Israeli Quilters Association. She always brings spinnaker with her. She starts a new kite at the workshop. I know Scott Skinner, he told us in secret that he goes to a ladies' workshop, patchwork
to
workshop.
learn some new techniques.
But even from books, there are a whole variety of very good books about patchwork and quilt.
And now online also you can see new techniques, or even step by step they will teach you.
Many YouTube videos.
Do you have some tips and tricks on your homepage?
In the homepage?
No, we on our site we only have photos of
it's only
events and kites, either our kites or events we participate.
But if somebody will write or something, we can recommend.
And if somebody asks, we always answer. We don't hide. We don't keep secrets.
That on the workshop I gave some tips about the sewing. Yes, to make it better. Yes.
So if you guys outside there in the big World Wide Web, if you are interested in patchwork in particular, in log cabin in particular, look around, Google it. You'll find a lot of information out in the internet. Or, as Eli and Shula said, just contact them. You will get here the address of the homepage underneath, and then contact them. I think that was a very, very interesting talk to you guys. Thank you for coming to Fene.
If I may add one more thing.
Yes, of course.
It may not be politically correct, but we were talking earlier about the joy of kite flying.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, what we experience in the last few weeks is that the same kites that we were making as children, the hexagons from many, many years ago, that are still being flown by the Palestinian children, are recently being flown from the Gaza Strip with incendiary and explosive devices into the Israeli territory. What happens is the prevailing wind around the Gaza Strip are winds that are coming in from the west, from the sea, and they blow the direction of Israel. So they just put up a hexagon kite with a burning rag attached to the tail by a metal wire, and they just cut the line, they let it go, it drops in the fields. All the area around the Gaza Strip is agricultural area, and causes dozens and dozens and dozens of fires. And it's a pity. It's a pity that...
It's definitely a pity, yeah. And then my first thought was, as I saw these pictures in news, how to answer on this.
Yeah. So
my first thought was, ignore it. Don't push something up. And then on the other side, Michael Stelzer from Berlin at that time, where Germany has been separated, he had a thought, and that was an Oashi Kite from western part of Berlin to the eastern part. And at that time I thought, hopefully some intelligent Israelis and some intelligent Arabs will come together and maybe make such an action. And this, I think, this will be the right reaction for this crap what they are doing.
We're trying to organize something, as you say, against it, to oppose this. But so far, it's a problem. It's a major problem.
We said, okay, let's make peace. So this will be the best solution.
Well, the best solution is making peace, of course. But
that will be especially in your area.
And we, that's what we say. We want a very good festival to show other kites to people.
The joy of
because
kites.
It's now popular kites, but not with a good reason.
And the philosophy of kites and kite flying come together.
Come together, be friends, have a good time.
Because it is just one world. And with this sense, with this last sentence from a very privileged Europe, from a very privileged island of Fenü, I say thank you for watching us. Thank you that you two guys have been here for this really good interview, for this really good talk. And if you like this video, then please, one thumbs up underneath, or much better, subscribe the whole channel. Thank you for now, thank you for watching, and see you soon again. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Thank you for having us here.
Thank you.
Thank you.